Ethan Carter walked into the restaurant, his polished shoes clicking lightly against the marble floor. He had chosen this place because it was quiet, exclusive, and perfect for meeting with potential business partners. The air smelled faintly, of roasted coffee and fresh flowers, and soft jazz music played in the background. Everything about the setting spoke of wealth and sophistication. But Ethan wasn't paying attention to any of that. His mind was already focused on the deal he hoped to close tonight. He took a seat at the bar while waiting for his guest to arrive. The bartender greeted him warmly and handed him a menu. Ethan barely glanced at it. Instead, his eyes wandered around the room, taking in the scene. That's when he saw her, Lily Monroe. At first, he didn't recognize her. She looked different, older, more tired than he remembered. But there was something familiar about the way she moved. The way she smiled politely at customers even though her eyes seemed weighed down by unseen burdens. Ethan froze mid-sip of his drink. It couldn't be her, could it? He studied her closely as she served a table near the corner. Her dark hair was tied back neatly, and she wore a plain black uniform with the restaurant's logo stitched onto the chest. There was no mistaking it now. It was Lily, his old school friend from high school, the same girl who used to sit next to him in math class and share her lunch when he forgot his own. Memories came rushing back unexpectedly. He thought about how close they had been, back then always supporting each other through tough times. They had promised to stay in touch after graduation, but life got in the way. Years passed and they lost contact completely. Ethan often wondered what happened to her, but he never made an effort to find out. Now here she was, standing just a few feet away, working as a waitress in one of the fanciest restaurants in New York City. Ethan felt a strange mix of emotions. Surprise, guilt, curiosity. They all swirled inside him. What was she doing here? How had her life turned out so differently from his? He wanted answers, but he also felt hesitant. What if she didn't want to talk to him? What if she resented him for disappearing all those years ago? The bartender returned to check on him, breaking Ethan's train of thought. "Can I get you anything else, sir?" the young man asked politely. Ethan hesitated for a moment before asking, "Do you know that waitress over there, the one with the dark hair?" The bartender followed his gaze and nodded. "Oh yeah, that's Lily. She's been working here for a couple of months now." Does she seem happy?" Ethan asked, unsure why he cared so much. The bartender shrugged. "She works hard, always polite to the customers. Keeps to herself most of the time, though. From what I've heard, she's got a lot going on outside work, second job, bills, stuff like that." Ethan frowned. The idea of Lily struggling to make ends meet bothered him deeply. He couldn't imagine someone as kind and talented as she was having such a difficult life. Yet looking at her now, he could see the signs. Her hands moved quickly, efficiently, but there was a weariness in her posture that hadn't been there before. Even her smile, though genuine, seemed forced, like she was trying to hide how exhausted she really was. As Ethan watched her, memories continued to flood back. He remembered how Lily used to dream big. She wanted to be a fashion designer, creating beautiful clothes that would change the world. Back then, she had sketches filling every notebook she owned. She talked endlessly about fabrics, colors, and patterns. Where did those dreams go? Did life crush them along the way? Before he realized it, Ethan found himself walking toward her. His heart pounded in his chest. What would he say? Would she even remember him? As he approached, Lily turned around, nearly bumping into him. For a split second, their eyes met, and Ethan saw a flicker of recognition in hers. Then confusion replaced it. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice calm but cautious. Ethan cleared his throat, suddenly nervous. "Hi, do you remember me? It's Ethan. Ethan Carter." Lily stared at him, her brow furrowing slightly. Then slowly, her eyes widened in disbelief. "Ethan? Oh my gosh, is that really you?" Her reaction caught him off guard. She sounded genuinely pleased to see him, which only made him feel worse about letting so much time pass without reaching out. "Yeah, it's me," he said with a sheepish grin. "I can't believe it's been so long." Lily laughed softly, shaking her head. I know, right? You look like you're doing pretty well for yourself. Ethan chuckled awkwardly, glancing down at his expensive suit. You could say that. And you're still amazing at multitasking. I think I interrupted your shift. Lily shrugged, trying to play it cool, but Ethan noticed the faint blush creeping onto her cheeks. It's fine. Things are slow right now anyway. So, what brings you here? I'm meeting some people for work, Ethan replied. But seeing you here, it's kind of crazy. Can we talk later? Maybe grab a coffee or something? Lily hesitated for a moment, clearly weighing her options. Finally, she nodded. Sure. I get off in an hour. We can catch up then. Ethan smiled, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. Great. I'll wait for you. As Lily walked away to tend to another table, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this chance encounter might change both of their lives forever. Ethan waited outside the restaurant, leaning against the sleek black car he had arrived in. He checked his watch every few minutes, feeling both nervous and excited. It had been years since he last saw Lily, and now they were about to reconnect over coffee. He wasn't sure what to expect. Would she still be the same person he remembered, or had life changed her too much? When Lily finally stepped out of the restaurant, Ethan straightened up and smiled. She had changed out of her work uniform and into a plain sweater and jeans. Her hair was loose now, falling softly around her shoulders. She looked more relaxed than she had earlier, though there was still a hint of weariness in her expression. Hey, she said as she approached him, giving him a small wave. Hey, Lily, Ethan replied warmly. Ready to catch up? She nodded, glancing briefly at the car before looking back at him. Where are we going? There's a little coffee shop just around the corner, Ethan said. I think you'll like it. They walked side by side, the cool evening air wrapping around them. Ethan found himself stealing glances at Lily, noticing how much she had changed, and how much she hadn't. Her smile was still kind, her voice still soft, but there was a weight to her presence that hadn't been there before. The coffee shop was small and cozy, with wooden tables and shelves lined with books. They chose a spot near the window and ordered their drinks. As they waited for their coffees, Ethan tried to break the ice. So, he began. How have you been? Lily shrugged lightly, her fingers tracing the rim of her empty cup. I've been okay. Life's been busy, I guess. Ethan nodded, sensing that there was more to her story. You're working 2 jobs, right? I heard from the bartender. Lily raised an eyebrow, surprised that he had asked about her. Yeah, I work here during the day and at another place at night. It keeps me busy, but it pays the bills. What happened? Ethan asked gently. Last I heard, you were going to be this big fashion designer. What happened to all those dreams? Lily sighed, her gaze dropping to the table. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she spoke softly, almost as if she was talking to herself. Life got in the way. After high school, things didn't go the way I planned. My family needed help, so I put my dreams on hold. Then I got married, and that didn't work out either. By the time I realized what I wanted, it felt like it was too late. Ethan listened intently, his heart aching for her. He couldn't imagine how hard it must have been for her to give up on something she loved so much. It's not too late, he said firmly. You're still young. You can still chase those dreams. Lily gave him a sad smile. It's not that simple, Ethan. Dreams cost money, and I don't exactly have a lot of that lying around. Her words hit him hard. He knew she was right. Starting over wasn't easy, especially without financial support. But Ethan also knew he had the means to help her. The question was, would she accept it? And more importantly, could he offer it without making her feel like she owed him something? Their coffees arrived, and they sipped quietly for a moment. The silence between them wasn't awkward. Instead, it felt comfortable, like they were rediscovering the rhythm of their old friendship. I'm sorry I disappeared, Ethan said suddenly, breaking the quiet. After high school, I should have stayed in touch. I let life get in the way too. Lily shook her head. Don't apologize. We were kids back then. People drift apart. It happens. But it shouldn't have happened with us, Ethan insisted. We were close, Lily. Really close. I missed having you in my life. Her cheeks flushed slightly at his words. I missed you too, she admitted. But we're different people now. Our lives are worlds apart. Maybe, Ethan said, thoughtfully, but maybe not completely. Look, I know I can't fix everything overnight, but I'd like to try. Let me help you, Lily. Let me be there for you the way you were there for me back then. Lily frowned, shaking her head. Ethan, I appreciate the thought, but I don't want charity. I need to do this on my own. I'm not offering charity, Ethan said quickly. I'm offering friendship, support, whatever you need to get back on your feet. She looked at him skeptically, clearly unsure whether to believe him. Why are you doing this? Why now? Ethan hesitated, searching for the right words. Because seeing you tonight reminded. Back at his penthouse, Ethan sat alone, staring out the large windows that overlooked the glittering city below. His mind was racing. The conversation with Lily had stirred something inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. It wasn't just guilt or nostalgia. It was a sense of purpose. For so long, he had been consumed by building his empire, chasing success, and accumulating wealth. But tonight, for the first time in what felt like forever, he realized there was more to life than money. He picked up the tablet resting on the coffee table and began scrolling through notes he had jotted down during their talk. Lily's passion for fashion had stood out to him. Even after all these years, she still carried that spark, even if it was buried beneath layers of hardship. He remembered how her eyes lit up when she mentioned designing clothes again, even if only briefly. That was the key. He needed to find a way to reignite that passion without making her feel like she was being handed a handout. Ethan leaned back on the couch, tapping his fingers against the edge of the tablet. Helping Lily couldn't just be about writing a check or giving her a job. She was too proud for that, and honestly, he respected her for it. If he wanted to make a real difference, he had to think bigger. He had to create opportunities for her, to succeed on her own terms. The idea came to him slowly at first, but as he fleshed it out in his mind, it began to take shape. There were plenty of startup incubators focused on creative industries, fashion, art, design. Many of them provided mentorship, funding, and resources to aspiring entrepreneurs. What if he could get Lily into one of those programs? Better yet, what if he created one specifically tailored to people like her, people with talent and drive who just needed a chance to shine? Excited by the thought, Ethan grabbed a pen and started jotting down ideas. He sketched out a rough plan: identify promising candidates, provide them with training and tools, connect them with industry experts, and give them the platform they needed to launch their careers. And Lily would be the first participant. But there was a catch. He didn't want her to know he was behind it, at least not at first. If she found out he was pulling strings, she might reject the opportunity outright. No, this had to feel organic, like she earned it through her own merit. That meant he'd have to work quietly, using his connections and influence to guide her toward the right path without revealing his involvement. As the hours passed, Ethan became more and more immersed in his planning. He reached out to Rachel, his trusted assistant, and asked her to research existing incubator programs and compile a list of potential mentors. Then he called a few friends in the fashion industry, casually asking about trends and upcoming designers. By the time morning arrived, he had a solid framework in place. Still, doubts lingered in the back of his mind. Was he overstepping? Could he really pull this off without Lily finding out? And most importantly, would she forgive him if or when she discovered the truth? To distract himself, Ethan decided to focus on the next step: reconnecting with Lily, in a way that felt natural. He knew she wouldn't trust him easily, not after everything she had been through, but he also knew she deserved better than empty promises. So, he devised a plan to invite her to a networking event hosted by one of his associates. It wasn't directly related to fashion, but it would give her exposure to influential people who might inspire her to pursue her dreams. He sent her a text later that afternoon. "Hey Lily, hope you're doing well. I've got an extra ticket to an event tomorrow night. Nothing fancy, just some networking. Thought you might enjoy it. Let me know if you're interested." It was a simple message, designed to seem casual and nonchalant. But Ethan held his breath as he hit send, waiting anxiously for her reply. When his phone buzzed a few minutes later, he nearly dropped it in his haste to read her response. "Sure, why not? Could be fun. Thanks for thinking of me." Ethan let out a sigh of relief, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. This was it, the first step toward helping Lily reclaim her future. As he prepared for the event, Ethan couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to face whatever challenges came their way. After all, this wasn't just about helping Lily anymore. It was about rediscovering the parts of himself he had lost along the way. And maybe, just maybe, it was about something more. Something neither of them was quite ready to admit yet. The networking event was held in a spacious hall decorated with tasteful floral arrangements and soft lighting. As Ethan guided Lily through the crowd, he could tell she felt a little out of place. She tugged at the sleeves of her sweater nervously, glancing around at the well-dressed attendees exchanging business cards and animated conversations. Despite her discomfort, she managed a polite smile as they approached a small group of people. "This is Lily," Ethan said, introducing her warmly. "She's got a keen eye for design. I thought you'd all love to meet her." Lily blushed, slightly, but shook hands with everyone. One of the women in the group, a fashion designer named Claire, immediately struck up a conversation. "So, Lily, what kind of design work do you do?" she asked curiously. Lily hesitated for a moment before answering. "I don't really design anymore," she admitted, "but I used to sketch clothing ideas when I was younger. Sustainable fashion was always something I cared about." Claire's eyes lit up. "Sustainable fashion? That's huge right now. People are looking for ways to make the industry more eco-friendly. Have you thought about pursuing it professionally?" Ethan watched Lily closely, noticing how her expression shifted. For a brief second, he saw a flicker of excitement in her eyes, the same spark he remembered from their high school days, but just as quickly, it faded, replaced by doubt. "It's not that easy," Lily said softly. "You need connections, resources, things I don't have." "Well," Claire replied with a grin, "you're in luck. There's an incubator program starting soon that focuses on sustainable fashion. They're looking for fresh talent, people who think outside the box. You should apply." Lily looked skeptical. "Me? I wouldn't even know where to start." Ethan stepped in, trying to sound casual. "Actually, I know someone involved with the program. If you're interested, I can put in a good word." Lily shot him a wary glance. "Ethan, I told you, I don't want special treatment." "It's not special treatment," Ethan insisted. "It's just an introduction. Whether or not you get in depends entirely on your skills and ideas. Trust me, Lily, you've got what it takes." She didn't say anything right away, but Ethan could see the wheels turning in her mind. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of introductions and lively discussions. Lily found herself drawn into conversations about fabrics, production, methods, and innovative designs. By the end of the night, her initial nervousness had given way to genuine interest. As they left the venue together, Ethan couldn't help but notice the change in her demeanor. She seemed lighter, more hopeful. "That wasn't so bad, was it?" he teased gently. Lily smiled faintly. "No, it wasn't. Everyone was really nice. And Claire, she made it sound like maybe I could actually do this." "You can," Ethan said firmly. "All you need is a chance. And the right support." They walked in companionable silence for a while, the cool night air wrapping around them. Finally, Lily spoke again. "Why are you doing this, Ethan? Really?" He stopped walking and turned to face her. Because I believe in you, Lily. Because seeing you tonight reminded me of how much potential you have. And because... He paused, searching for the right words. Because helping you makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. Something meaningful. Lily studied him for a long moment, her gaze softening. Thank you, she said, quietly, for believing in me. Even if nothing comes of this, it means a lot. Ethan shook his head. Something will come of it. I promise. Over the next few days, Ethan worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure Lily's application to the incubator program stood out. He reached out to Claire and other contacts, subtly emphasizing Lily's passion and untapped talent. He even reviewed her portfolio himself, offering constructive feedback without revealing his deeper involvement. When the acceptance email finally arrived, Ethan waited anxiously for Lily's reaction. She called him almost immediately, her voice trembling with excitement. Ethan, I got in. I can't believe it. I actually got in. That's amazing, Lily, he said, unable to hide the pride in his voice. See? I told you, you've got this. I couldn't have done it without you, she said gratefully. Seriously, thank you. I don't know how to repay you. You don't owe me anything, Ethan replied sincerely. Just go out there and show them what you're capable of. As they hung up, Ethan leaned back in his chair, a satisfied smile spreading across his face. This was only the beginning, for both of them. Lily stepped into the incubator program's workspace for the first time, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and nerves. The room was alive with activity, people cutting fabric, sketching designs, and brainstorming ideas around tables covered in colorful materials. It felt like stepping into a dream she had long forgotten but couldn't help revisiting in quiet moments. She took a deep breath, reminding herself why she was here. This wasn't just an opportunity. It was a second chance. A chance to prove to herself that she still had what it took to chase her dreams. As she found her assigned workstation, she noticed how welcoming everyone seemed. A few people smiled and waved, introducing themselves casually before diving back into their projects. Ethan had arranged everything perfectly without making it obvious. The program provided access to top-notch mentors, state-of-the-art equipment, and workshops tailored to emerging designers. For someone like Lily, who had spent years putting her passions aside, this environment felt almost surreal. Her first mentor meeting came quickly. Claire, the designer she'd met at the networking event, greeted her warmly. So, Lily, Claire began, flipping through Lily's portfolio. I see you've got a solid foundation here. Your sketches are clean, and your concepts have real potential. Tell me more about what inspires you. Lily hesitated for a moment, then opened up about her love for sustainable fashion. Growing up, I always hated how wasteful the industry could be, she explained. I wanted to create something beautiful that didn't harm the planet, or the people making it. That's why I'm drawn to eco-friendly fabrics and ethical production methods. Claire nodded approvingly. That's exactly what we need more of. Let's start turning those ideas into reality. We'll focus on refining your designs and teaching you the business side of things so you can launch successfully. Over the next few weeks, Lily threw herself into the program with everything she had. She attended workshops on pattern making, learned about supply chain management, and collaborated with other participants on mock collections. At night, after long days of work, she sketched new ideas and experimented with combining textures and colors. Her hands were often stained with ink or thread, but she didn't mind. It reminded her of why she started loving fashion in the first place. Ethan stayed in touch, checking in occasionally under the guise of casual curiosity. He sent encouraging texts and stopped by once to drop off coffee during a late-night brainstorming session. Each time he saw her, he noticed subtle changes. Her confidence grew, her posture straightened, and her eyes sparkled with renewed purpose. Watching her transformation filled him with pride, and something deeper he couldn't quite put into words. One evening, as Lily worked alone in the studio, Ethan showed up unexpectedly. He carried a bag of takeout and a bottle of sparkling water. Thought you might need a break, he said with a smile, setting the food down on her cluttered desk. Lily looked up, surprised but grateful. "You didn't have to do this," she said, gesturing to the mess around her. "I know," Ethan replied, pulling up a chair. "But I figured you've been working nonstop. You deserve a little downtime." They ate together, talking about her progress in the program. Lily shared stories about her challenges, like struggling to balance functionality with aesthetics in her designs, and her victories, such as mastering a particularly tricky sewing technique. Ethan listened intently, offering advice when asked, but mostly just being there to support her. "You're doing incredible, Lily," he said sincerely. "I mean it. Watching you grow has been inspiring." She smiled shyly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Thanks, Ethan. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Even if you keep saying you didn't do much, I know better." He chuckled softly, shaking his head. "All I did was give you a nudge. Everything else is you." For a moment, they sat in comfortable silence, the hum of the city outside blending with the soft rustle of fabric samples on Lily's desk. Then Lily spoke again, her tone quieter but tinged with emotion. "Do you ever feel like maybe this is fate? Us reconnecting the way we did?" Ethan froze, caught off guard by the question. He hadn't allowed himself to think too deeply about it, but now that she brought it up, he couldn't deny the possibility. "Maybe," he admitted. "Or maybe it's just two people trying to make things right, for each other and for themselves." Whatever it was, neither of them could deny the growing connection between them. Their bond, once rooted in shared memories, was evolving into something stronger, deeper. And though neither voiced it yet, they both knew their lives were changing in ways neither had anticipated. By the end of the program, Lily had created a stunning collection inspired by nature and sustainability. Her final presentation earned rave reviews from the judges, who praised her creativity and commitment to ethical practices. As she stood on stage accepting applause, she glanced out into the audience and locked eyes with Ethan. In that moment, she realized this achievement wasn't just hers. It belonged to both of them. And as Ethan watched her bask in the spotlight, he knew one thing for certain: helping Lily had changed his life as much as it had changed hers. Just as Lily's career began to take off, trouble struck unexpectedly. One morning she received an email accusing her of stealing design ideas from another fashion label. The message came from a lawyer representing Marcus Lane, a well-known but notoriously cutthroat designer. According to him, several pieces in Lily's collection bore striking similarities to designs his company had been working on privately. Lily stared at the screen, her heart sinking. She felt like the ground beneath her feet had crumbled away. "This can't be happening," she whispered to herself, rereading the email multiple times, hoping it would somehow change or disappear. The accusations spread quickly. Within hours, social media buzzed with speculation about Lily's supposed plagiarism. Comments ranged from harsh criticism to outright mockery. Even some people who had praised her work earlier now questioned her integrity. It was devastating, not just professionally but personally too. When Ethan heard about the allegations, he immediately called her. "Lily, I saw the news online. Are you okay?" His voice was filled with concern. "I don't know what to do," she admitted, her tone heavy with frustration and fear. "I didn't steal anything, Ethan. My designs are mine. They're inspired by my own experiences and research. But no one believes me." "Of course they're yours," Ethan said firmly. "Listen, we'll figure this out together. You're not alone in this." He arranged to meet her later that day at her apartment. When he arrived, he found her sitting on the couch, surrounded by sketches and notes. Her eyes were red, evidence of tears shed earlier. Despite her exhaustion, she managed a weak smile when she saw him. "Thank you for coming," she said softly. "I feel like everything I've worked for is falling apart." Ethan sat beside her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll get through this. First, let's look at the facts. Do you have proof that your designs are original?" Lily nodded, pulling out folders filled with dated sketches and fabric samples. "I kept everything, every step of the process. These designs took months to develop. There's no way Marcus could have seen them before now. That's good, Ethan said, flipping through the documents. Proof is key here. We need to show that your work predates his claims. Over the next few days, Ethan used his resources to dig deeper into the situation. He hired a private investigator to look into Marcus Lane's background and recent activities. What they uncovered was shocking. Marcus had a history of targeting up-and-coming designers, using lawsuits and intimidation tactics to discredit them and eliminate competition. Armed with this information, Ethan helped Lily prepare a counter-response. They gathered all her documentation and presented it to their lawyer, along with evidence of Marcus's unethical behavior. Meanwhile, Ethan reached out to influential contacts in the fashion industry, sharing Lily's story and rallying support for her cause. Despite these efforts, the pressure mounted. Reporters hounded Lily for statements, and anonymous trolls flooded her social media accounts with hateful messages. She began questioning whether continuing down this path was worth it. Maybe I should just quit, she confessed to Ethan during one particularly low moment. If I walk away now, maybe the noise will stop. No, Ethan said firmly, gripping her hands. You've worked too hard to give up. Walking away won't solve anything. It'll only prove them right. You're stronger than this, Lily. Don't let them break you. His words reignited a flicker of determination within her. Slowly, she started fighting back. With Ethan's encouragement, she released a public statement explaining her side of the story and showcasing her creative process. Videos of her working on her designs went viral, drawing attention to her authenticity and passion. Finally, the turning point came. Ethan's team uncovered concrete evidence proving that Marcus had fabricated his accusations. Not only did they find drafts of emails where Marcus instructed his staff to monitor Lily's progress, but they also discovered leaked internal documents, revealing plans to sabotage her launch. With this new evidence, Lily's lawyer filed a defamation lawsuit against Marcus. Facing overwhelming proof of his misconduct, Marcus issued a public apology and withdrew all charges. The scandal surrounding Lily dissolved almost as quickly as it had erupted. When the dust settled, Lily felt both relief and exhaustion. The victory over Marcus Lane should have been the end of Lily's struggles, but it only deepened her thoughts about Ethan. She couldn't stop thinking about how much he had done for her, how he had stood by her side through every challenge, no matter how overwhelming. His actions went beyond friendship. They felt personal, intentional, and though she was grateful, she also couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to his involvement than he had let on. One evening, after another long day of preparing for her upcoming fashion show, Lily invited Ethan to join her on the rooftop garden of her apartment building. It was a quiet space filled with plants and soft lighting, offering a peaceful escape from the chaos of the city below. As they sat down on a bench overlooking the skyline, Lily turned to him with a determined look. Ethan, she began, her voice steady but tinged with curiosity. I need to ask you something. Something I've been wondering about for a while, now. Ethan glanced at her, sensing the seriousness in her tone. What is it, Lily? She hesitated for a moment, choosing her words carefully. How did all of this happen? The incubator program, the networking event, even the way you helped me fight off Marcus. None of it feels like coincidence. Did you plan all of this? Were you pulling strings behind the scenes? Ethan froze, caught off guard by her directness. He had known this conversation might come eventually, but he hadn't expected it so soon, or so bluntly. For a moment, he didn't say anything, unsure of how to respond without making her feel indebted or betrayed. Finally, he sighed and looked her in the eye. Yes, he admitted quietly. I did help set some things in motion. But before you say anything, please let me explain. Lily crossed her arms, her expression guarded. Okay. Explain. Ethan took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. When I saw you working as a waitress that night, it broke my heart. You were always so talented, so full of potential. Seeing you struggle made me realize how much I'd taken my own life for granted. I wanted to help you, not because I felt sorry for you, but because I believed in you. I still do." He paused, searching her face for any sign of anger or disappointment. When she didn't interrupt, he continued, "I knew you wouldn't accept charity, so I tried to create opportunities instead. I reached out to people, introduced you to the right connections, and made sure you had access to resources that could help you succeed. Everything you achieved, you earned it, Lily. I just gave you a push in the right direction." Lily listened silently, her emotions swirling inside her. Part of her felt hurt that Ethan had kept this from her, but another part understood why he had done it. Still, she needed answers. "Why didn't you tell me? Why keep it a secret?" "Because I was afraid," Ethan admitted, his voice softer. "Now, afraid you'd reject the help if you knew it came from me. Afraid you'd think I was trying to buy your friendship, or worse, pity you. I wanted you to succeed on your own terms, not because of what I could give you." Lily stared at him, her mind racing. She had spent years being fiercely independent, refusing to rely on anyone else. Yet here was Ethan, someone who had gone out of his way to support her without expecting anything in return. It was humbling. And confusing. "I don't know how to feel about this," she said finally, her voice trembling slightly. "On one hand, I'm angry that you didn't trust me enough to be honest. On the other hand, I can't deny that what you did changed my life. I just wish you had told me sooner." Ethan nodded, guilt weighing heavily on his shoulders. "You're right. I should have been upfront with you. I'm sorry, Lily. Truly." They sat in silence for a while, the cool evening breeze rustling the leaves around them. Slowly, Lily's anger began to fade, replaced by gratitude and something deeper. She realized that Ethan's actions weren't just about helping her career. They were about reconnecting with her, rebuilding the bond they had lost years ago. "Thank you," she said softly, breaking the silence, "for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself, for giving me a second chance." Ethan smiled faintly, relief washing over him. "You never needed me to believe in you, Lily. You've always had everything you needed inside you. I just wanted to remind you of that." As they talked further, the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Their shared memories from high school, their dreams for the future, and the ways their lives had changed since they last saw each other. For the first time, Ethan opened up about his own struggles, his loneliness despite his success, his longing for meaningful connections, and how meeting Lily again had reignited parts of himself he thought were lost forever. By the time they left the rooftop garden, the tension between them had dissolved, replaced by a renewed sense of trust and understanding. Though neither of them spoke it aloud, they both knew their relationship had evolved into something deeper, a partnership built on mutual respect, admiration, and unspoken affection. Little did they know, this newfound closeness would soon lead them to confront even bigger questions about their futures and the roles they wanted to play in each other's lives. Months passed, and Lily's fashion line officially launched to great acclaim. Her collection, inspired by sustainability and resilience, became an instant hit. Critics praised her innovative designs, and customers loved the story behind her brand, a tale of second chances, hard work, and triumph over adversity. But more importantly, Lily felt fulfilled in a way she hadn't in years. She was finally living her dream, creating something meaningful that aligned with her values. Ethan attended the launch event, standing proudly in the background as Lily gave interviews and greeted well-wishers. Watching her shine filled him with a sense of pride he couldn't put into words. He realized that helping Lily had not only changed her life, it had also changed his. For the first time in years, he felt truly connected to someone, and it gave him a purpose beyond wealth and success. After the launch, Lily approached Ethan with an idea. "I've been thinking," she said, her eyes bright with excitement. "We've both seen what a different support and opportunity can make in someone's life. What if we work together to help others the way you helped me?" Ethan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" "A foundation," Lily explained. "One that provides resources, mentorship, and funding to people who need a second chance. Artists, designers, entrepreneurs, anyone with talent but no platform. We could call it Empowerment through innovation. Ethan smiled, impressed by her vision. That sounds incredible, Lily, and I'd love to help, but are you sure you want to take this on so soon? You've already got your hands full with your brand. I know, Lily replied thoughtfully. But isn't that the point? To use my success to lift others up? Besides, I can't think of anyone better to partner with than you. The idea resonated deeply with Ethan. Together they began laying the groundwork for the foundation. They reached out to influential figures in various industries, secured funding, and developed programs tailored to empower aspiring creators. Within months, the foundation was up and running, hosting workshops, networking events, and grant competitions. Their collaboration brought them even closer. As they worked side by side, their bond grew stronger. Conversations about business plans often turned into late-night talks about life, dreams, and fears. Slowly but surely, their friendship blossomed into something more, something neither of them had anticipated but both welcomed wholeheartedly. One evening, as they prepared for the foundation's inaugural charity gala, Ethan found Lily adjusting the hem of her dress in front of a mirror backstage. She looked breathtaking in a custom-made gown crafted from sustainable materials, one of her own designs. When she noticed him watching, she smiled nervously. "How do I look?" "Perfect," Ethan said without hesitation. "Like always." Lily laughed softly, shaking her head. "You're biased." "No," he insisted, stepping closer. "I mean it. You're amazing, Lily. Everything you've done, your designs, the foundation, all of it, it's inspiring." She met his gaze, her cheeks flushing slightly. "Thank you, Ethan, for everything. None of this would have happened without you." Ethan shook his head, his voice gentle but firm. "Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You're the one who made it happen." As they walked onto the stage together later that night, applause erupted from the crowd. The room buzzed with energy as Lily and Ethan shared their vision for the foundation, inspiring everyone present to contribute to its mission. It was a magical moment, one that marked not just the beginning of a new chapter for the foundation, but also for the two of them. After the speeches ended, they stepped outside onto the balcony overlooking the city. The cool night air wrapped around them as they stood side by side, reflecting on everything they had accomplished together. "So," Ethan said after a pause, his tone light but tinged with nervousness, "what happens now?" Lily turned to him, her smile soft but knowing. "Now, we keep going. Together." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He reached for her hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. "Together," he echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. In that moment, under the glow of the city lights, they both knew their journey was far from over. They had started as old friends reconnecting by chance, but they had grown into partners, in business, in life, and in love. Their shared mission to uplift others had brought them closer than either had imagined possible, proving that sometimes the greatest gifts come from giving back. And as they stood there, hand in hand, they realized